What if the one thing that could change your entire reality was already inside you, hidden not in a book, not in a ritual, but in your own breath, your own voice, your own feeling? There is a frequency that holds the power to transform everything. It doesn't come from the outside. It doesn't require a guru, a ceremony, or ancient secrets locked away in temples. This frequency lives within you, quiet and untouched, waiting to be remembered. And the key to unlocking it is simple. One word, a sound, a vibration so pure that when spoken with true emotion, it realigns your energy instantly. This is not a metaphor or spiritual poetry. It's a living, breathing truth. And today, not only will you remember this sound, you will experience what it does. But before you release that sound, you need to understand why so many seekers feel stuck even after doing everything right. You may have meditated, journaled, visualized, and affirmed, and yet still find yourself circling the same life patterns, attracting the same struggles, feeling the same emotional weight. Why? Because the universe does not respond to your words. It responds to your vibration. And vibration is not what you say. It's what you are. It's what you feel, think, believe, and carry inside your nervous system. You are not a human being trying to have high energy. You are energy having a human experience. And your frequency shifts constantly, whether you realize it or not. A single memory can lower your vibration. A passing comment, a fearful thought, or an old emotional wound can quietly pull you down and shift your entire reality with it. That's because your vibration creates a field around you, an invisible signal that the universe responds to. This field is shaped not by your surface desires, but by your emotional truth. You might say you want peace, but if your body is vibrating anxiety, that's the message you're sending. You might affirm abundance, but if you're vibrating lack, the universe doesn't hear your affirmation. It feels your fear. Life reflects what you feel, not what you wish. That's why two people can walk into the same room and have completely different experiences. One flows effortlessly, the other meets resistance. The difference isn't in what they do, it's in what they vibrate. And this vibration isn't shaped by rare, dramatic moments. It's created in the small, everyday patterns, how you speak to yourself, the emotions you hold onto, the thoughts that repeat silently in the background. Every word you say carries frequency. Every emotion you feed adds to your field. You are constantly building an energetic atmosphere around you, and this field shapes what enters your life. But here's the most misunderstood truth. Even if you're doing all the right spiritual practices, your vibration might not be shifting because you're still carrying a mismatch between what you say and what you feel. You can say, "I am love," but if there's anger stored in your heart, that's what your energy radiates. You can affirm, "I am abundant," but if your nervous system is still bracing for loss, that's the signal you're transmitting. You can't cover low vibration with pretty words. You can't force a high frequency through surface level positivity. Real transformation requires emotional honesty. Until the emotion is healed, the frequency doesn't change. You may feel like you're making progress, but find yourself returning to the same patterns. And the more you try to force yourself into a high vibration, the more resistance you create. This creates spiritual burnout, a feeling of doing everything right and getting nowhere. Because true vibration doesn't come from thinking differently. It comes from feeling differently. And to feel differently, you have to feel fully. You must meet what you've avoided. The sadness, the fear, the shame, the parts of you that the mind tries to ignore, but the body still carries. When you allow those emotions to rise and move, your vibration begins to shift. Not because you're trying to fix yourself, but because you're finally listening. There is a way to do this. A sacred practice kept alive through ancient lineages. It's not a modern hack or trendy technique. It's the union of conscious breath and elevated emotion. This isn't just deep breathing to calm the body. It's intentional breathing to awaken the soul. Ancient Sufis, yogis, and temple initiates used it to shift their vibration at the deepest levels. Science now confirms what mystics have always known. Breath changes everything. It influences your nervous system, your heart rhythms, your hormones, even your brain waves. But what the mystics also knew is that breath alone is not enough. To transform your energy, breath must be paired with feeling. When you breathe in love and actually feel love in your chest, something begins to shift inside you. When you breathe in gratitude and let it expand through your whole body, your frequency begins to change. You're not just calming yourself, you're reprogramming your field. And it only takes a few minutes a day. It doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be real. Real breath, real presence, real feeling. Done not to fix yourself, but to remember yourself. But there is more. Something deeper still. Something you already carry inside you, whether you know it or not. Sound. Sound is not just something you hear. It's a force that shapes your reality. The science of cymatics proves this. Different sounds form different geometric patterns in matter. Sound literally creates structure. If a simple tone can move particles into mandalas, imagine what it does to your energy. You are not just flesh and thoughts. You are vibration layered upon vibration, and every layer responds to sound. This is why certain music moves you to tears. Why a sacred chant can make your whole body light up. Sound bypasses the mind. It speaks directly to your soul. And ancient civilizations understood this deeply. In Egypt, sound was used to activate ancient memory. Tibetan monks used mantras to reach expanded states of consciousness. Indigenous shamans used chants to guide healing. These weren't performances. They were energetic technologies. They weren't just singing. They were tuning their energy fields. And you can too. You don't need to be trained. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. Sacred sounds like Om and Hu aren't just syllables. They are vibrational codes, keys that unlock inner frequencies. When you speak them with sincerity, presence, and elevated emotion, something begins to happen inside you. Blocks dissolve, centers awaken, your field reorganizes. This is not a belief, it is resonance. When you breathe with intention, when you feel with honesty, and when you vocalize with presence, you awaken something ancient inside you. You remember that you are not here to struggle your way to transformation. You are here to return to your true frequency. And now, you're almost ready. Because the sound you're about to speak, the vibration you're about to release, is not just a tool. It's a turning point, a remembering, a return to who you truly are. So take a breath, feel your heart, and prepare yourself. What you're about to activate doesn't just change your energy, it changes everything. There are sounds that don't just move through the air, they move through you. They don't stop at your ears, they touch your being. They move beneath your thoughts, beneath your habits and history, reaching the most delicate layers of your soul, where your truest self still lives, quietly waiting to be remembered. These aren't just musical notes or mantras you repeat mechanically. These are ancient vibrational sequences, living codes of energy. And when you connect to them, something begins to awaken within you. A soft pulse, a knowing, a memory that rises not in words but in resonance. Something shifts, something stirs, something that has always been there, but forgotten. In the world we live in, where noise is constant and silence is rare, where the voice is often used more to react than to create, it's easy to forget the sacred power of sound. Yet long before instruments, before language, before even thought, sound existed. Vibration existed. And in those first vibrations, creation began. Sound is not just communication. It is a force of birth, of structure, of harmony and destruction. The ancients knew this. Every mystical tradition, from Egypt to Tibet, from the shamans of the Amazon to the early mystics of the desert, knew that certain sounds, when used with the right breath, the right heart, and the right intention, could heal, activate, realign, and elevate. But not all sounds are equal. Some vibrate only on the surface. They stir emotions. They trigger memories. Others go deeper. They enter the energy body. They pass through the chakras, through the meridians, through the deep magnetic field of the heart. And a few, just a rare few, touch the core. These are sacred sequences, not popular songs, not trendy affirmations, but ancient vibrational keys, preserved, hidden, passed down in silence, often only shared in private circles of initiates who understood that such power was not for casual use. Why? Because these sounds don't just shift moods, they shift destiny. When chanted consciously, these sequences begin to awaken the dormant centers of your being. Your heart begins to soften, your breath deepens, and your cells respond. It's like a tuning fork striking the inner structure of your soul, like a thread reconnecting you to the source. Suddenly, you're not just repeating a sound, you're being restructured, recalibrated, remembered. The vibration travels not only through your body, but beyond it, into your emotional field, your energetic field, and then outward into your space. And as it does, it affects everything. You don't just raise your frequency, you begin to radiate. You become a living field of change. That's why this knowledge was once held in such sacred secrecy. Because when a human being is truly vibrating in their highest frequency, not just occasionally, but consistently, they become a transmitter, a silent generator of healing, awakening, and truth. Their presence alone shifts the energy of a room. Their voice, even when not speaking, carries a field of resonance. People feel them without knowing why. Animals respond. The air seems clearer around them. It's not magic, it's coherence. And that's the power of sound when it's used not for entertainment, but as a tool for sacred transformation. This is what Thoth, the great keeper of divine wisdom, Protected, a practice of sound that activates not only your energy centers, but also your original blueprint. A vibrational sequence that doesn't just connect you to higher frequencies, but helps you anchor them in your physical body. Because spiritual elevation is not about floating away, it's about embodying your truth here, now, on earth, in a living, breathing, grounded way. And to do that, you must understand the nature of sound. Sound is not simply an auditory event. It is vibration. And vibration is movement. And movement is life. Your entire being, your cells, your blood, your thoughts, your heartbeat is in constant motion. You are a vibrating instrument, shaped moment by the energy you emit and receive. Every word you speak sends ripples through your field. Every tone you use either uplifts or distorts. Every thought, even unspoken, leaves an imprint in your energy body. And this is not just spiritual philosophy. It is biological reality. Masaru Emoto showed the world something astonishing yet deeply intuitive. That water responds to words. It responds to emotion, to intention, to music, to vibration. He froze water after exposing it to different words and photographed the crystals that formed. Loving words, kind intentions, sacred chants, all created beautiful, intricate, symmetrical patterns. Harsh words, angry music, feelings of hate or fear, produced fractured, chaotic structures. If water reacts this way to sound, what do you think is happening inside your own body, where water is the dominant element? Everything you say matters. Every word you direct inward becomes a command, a pattern. When you speak with self-judgment, with harshness, even if only in your thoughts, you are feeding yourself poison. When you speak with gentleness, with love, with truth, even when saying difficult things, you are nourishing your energy. You are sculpting your vibration. And even more than your words, it is the emotion underneath, the tone of voice, the breath, the presence that carries the true frequency. Words are the shape, tone is the substance. That's why singing, when done with intention, is so powerful, because it bypasses the mind. It releases the voice from logic and lets it fly through the heart. Singing activates your whole body. It opens the energy channels in your chest, your spine, your solar plexus. It becomes not just sound but soul. And when you sing sacred sounds, words that have been encoded through time with vibrational meaning, something even more profound happens. You are no longer just creating sound. You are participating in creation itself. There are sacred syllables that carry within them the energy of archetypes, elements, and divine principles. Words that have no direct translation but are recognized by the soul. When you chant Ram, your energy body begins to stabilize. When you chant Hu, your heart expands. When you chant Ah, the field around your throat and chest vibrates into openness. These aren't just letters. They are living codes, sound keys. They awaken dormant memory, clear the subtle pathways, and strengthen your auric field. They help you realign with who you were before fear, before shame, before you were taught to forget. And yet, even with all of this, sacred sound, perfect intention, correct breath, there is still something that can silently stop you from anchoring these frequencies. Something quiet, something invisible, something that sits beneath the surface and tugs on your vibration like an anchor, and that is guilt. Guilt is one of the most misunderstood energies in the human experience. It often hides in spiritual clothing, appearing as humility, as self-awareness, even as discipline. But true guilt is not corrective. It is paralyzing. It doesn't guide. It traps. It whispers that you are not good enough, not pure enough, not worthy enough. It tells you that you can ascend, but only after you've suffered. It says you can shine, but only once you've been punished. Guilt is a slow poison, especially when it's not seen. It embeds itself in your decisions, in your relationships, in your energy field. And the more spiritual you become, the more clever it can get. It disguises itself as responsibility, as caution, as wisdom. But in truth, it is just a wall that keeps you from yourself. The deepest work is not forgiving others. That is easy by comparison. The real work, the sacred, transformative work, is forgiving yourself. Not the shallow kind of forgiveness, where you say, I forgive myself, but still carry the wound. But real forgiveness, the kind that requires you to go into the places you've tried to hide, into the moments you regret, into the versions of yourself that you have locked away in shame. Real forgiveness means standing before your own history and saying, you were doing your best. I see you. I release you. When you forgive yourself, truly, your energy changes. Something releases. The breath deepens. The light returns. Your vibration steadies. And finally, the sound can land. It's no longer trying to rise while dragging a weight behind it. It flows freely. Guilt collapses, and love becomes your resting frequency. From this place of openness, something extraordinary becomes possible. You no longer just reach for high vibration, you can live there. Even when life is difficult, even when emotions are complex. Because being high vibration doesn't mean being happy all the time. It means being coherent. It means living in harmony with your own truth, feeling what is real, saying what is true, thinking thoughts that align with your values, taking actions that reflect your inner world. When your thoughts, feelings, words, and actions align, you become an open channel. Vibration becomes effortless. This is vibrational coherence. And this state is not just spiritual, it is physiological. Scientific studies have shown that when the heart and brain are in coherence, your electromagnetic field expands. Your intuition becomes more accurate. Your nervous system calms. Your perception sharpens. You begin to interact with the world from a centered, empowered place. You become magnetic. To live in this state, you don't need perfection. You need presence, radical presence, conscious speech, emotional truth, silence, connection to nature, and above all, the courage to return to your center again and again, no matter how far you wander. The center is always available, and the more you return, the easier it becomes to stay. But there is one final key, one forgotten frequency that anchors all the rest. It is not found in sound, but in silence. It is not spoken, but felt. It is not reached through effort, but through surrender. This is what Thoth called the 0 point. 0 point is the pause between breath and movement, the stillness between thought and word, the space between stimulus and response. It is where you cease doing and simply are. In this space, time doesn't exist. Identity fades. The past has no pull. The future has no weight. There is only presence, pure, silent, vibrant presence. And in that space, something extraordinary happens. Reality reorganizes. The field resets. Creation begins anew. 0 point is the origin, the place where sound is born, before it becomes form, where thought arises, before it becomes belief, where emotion stirs, before it becomes expression. This is the womb of vibration, the void that births light. And when you access it, not just once, but regularly, you begin to live from a different center, a deeper axis, one that doesn't wobble with the world. You don't get to 0 point by trying harder. You get there by letting go. Sometimes it's found in a single breath, in a tear, in the moment before sleep, in the hush of dawn, in the presence of something so vast and loving that your mind falls silent. And in that stillness, a sound may rise, a sacred sound, not from your lips, but from your soul. It may feel like a tremble in your chest, a soft hum in your ribs, a breath that turns into a tone. And when it comes, don't force it. Let it move. Let it rise. Let it speak. This is the chant of 0 point, the sound of your soul before identity, the vibration of your essence before language. It is a whisper that becomes a wave. It doesn't need to be loud. It needs to be true. And when you give it voice, slowly, softly, with intention, it changes everything. It reorganizes the field. It activates the blueprint. It calls every scattered piece of you back into wholeness. Done regularly, this sound practice becomes your anchor, your compass, your medicine. You no longer seek peace. You emit it. You don't need to fix the world. You become the frequency that realigns it. Your presence begins to speak louder than your words. Your silence begins to teach. Your breath begins to bless. You are no longer a seeker. You are the source. And so, now that this code has been spoken into your field, the question is not, do you believe it? The question is, will you live it? Will you let the vibration rise? Will you allow yourself to sing from your soul? Will you choose to forgive the past, embody the now, and open to the frequency that has always been waiting for you? If your heart says yes, if you feel something stirring within, say this now: I receive the sound of 0 point. This phrase isn't just symbolic. It's a key, a declaration. It seals the vibration into your body. It anchors what has been awakened. And when others see it, they feel it too. Because sound doesn't stop at the throat. It moves across fields. It touches timelines. It ripples into dreams. And when enough of us activate this code, the field changes for everyone. You were never meant to stay lost in noise. You were never meant to live in static. You are a being of sound, of light, of sacred resonance. And now, your tone is returning. Your original vibration is rising. Your soul is remembering the song it was born to sing. Sing it now. Whisper it if you must, but let it be heard within you, around you, through you. The world is ready, and so are you. Now breathe and begin.